first and foremost, I think the importance of evaluation is to create a common language. I think that the word place is so nebulous. I think it's so expansive and kind of interpreted in many different ways. And I think that we need a common language to bring this conversation and approach and people and disciplines together. So I think it's fundamentally really important to help us define place, so to speak.
To know if you are doing the right things, because you're making the place, right? So you're making it for people who use it, who are gonna use it. So you want to know if you're making the right things. Otherwise, what's the point of it? It's very simple. If nobody uses things that you have contributed to a place, there's no point of spending resources on that. If it is not making the situation any better for anyone, obviously it's not efficient. Yeah, I think that is the reason for assessing the output, to realize if it's good, if it's working.
Thirdly, it's also important, obviously, to benchmark and to give a certain standard that people can aim for and rise to, and improve in the delivery and management of our places.
Placemaking is really important, because the reality that we have seen is that when placemaking is done badly, the impacts are not only very long-term, but they trickle down through the community and even onto neighboring communities. And so raising the bar for the expectation of doing good analysis is an important part that needs to happen, I think, kind of in this field. And it's not just this field. I think that's happening to a lot of fields that weren't necessarily very data driven, and that are now, like tech and analytics, are starting to seep in to say, hey, we're not aiming to replace people that go and do surveys. Engaging with your community is incredibly important, but having the power to obtain something like the data that we are bringing together and putting together on our dashboards and not using that is not right. Because it basically says, hey, it's like as if a doctor told you, I could run all these other tests, but actually I'm not going to, because right now this test is satisfying me. And it's just kind of like, well, if that's a very important decision on the plate, I kind of want to have all the things that should fuel it and inform it.
Place just not for humans, but for river health, whether it's runoff from developments running into the river or cigarette butt running into the river. So I guess some sort of documentation along the way, just to show examples of what happens and what good practice is, to be able to move forward in a positive way and improve as new knowledge becomes available on best practice type approaches.
But I'd say the last reason that I also think it's really important is that in the system of delivering places, there are so many different nuanced governance models that go on, and those governance models will occur in councils, or they might occur at a particular place, or it might be set up like a community title might be a particular governance model where the community owns a place. And I think that if we don't have a tool that holistically can measure place, then we don't allow management systems to change. So current systems or governance or management systems will be measured on KPIs or inputs or outputs, so that we can understand and evaluate how we're going. And I think that it makes it far more difficult for people to start operating in a place approach if they don't have a tool that actually can evaluate that. And therefore systems of management have no reason to really change in that area. And I think that fundamentally is one of the kind of unseen hindrances against the delivery of really great holistic place outcomes.
Another thing is that by assessing a process, you even acquire elements to bring it on. By seeing what's happened in reaction to what you did, you realize what different could be done from that on.